Okay, Jeremy, what do you mean when you say get in the car with someone?
I tend to paint this metaphor of, and I'll give credit also to my colleague Chris Jackson, who came up with the initial metaphor, and then we kind of brainstormed on it a little bit. But so we're all on this highway called life, let's say, right? And we're all on different highways at different times and different streets and roads and stuff like that. But we're all on these highways, and when I find myself on a highway, there's a lot of different other vehicles on the highway with me, right? So we're all on the same highway. We're kind of looking at the same environment, but we're all in these different vehicles, and in each vehicle, it's a very different environment. It smells different, it feels different, it looks different through that particular windshield, whatever is in there. The car runs differently, so there's different experiences within each vehicle, even though we're on the same road. And I think it's a good metaphor for life, and especially for conflict, is we're in this situation together, we're in this environment together, but we're operating from very different places of perspective and feeling because we have different vehicles. And if we want to really resolve conflict, and especially escalated conflict, if we want to de-escalate someone and let them know, hey, I'm not a threat to you, I'm actually on your team. I really want to get there. That's my goal, is to get on someone's team, to let them know that, hey, I'm not a threat to you, I'm not your enemy, I'm your ally. I want to solve this issue with you. If I want to do that, we talk about, instead of being in my own car, but even though we're on the same highway, can I get out of my car and get in your car momentarily? Now, I'm going to give you a very fancy word for this. It's called projective counter-identification. And this is something that psychotherapists use, or at least talk about, and it's something that they watch out for, because when it's done unconsciously, it's a form for taking on someone else's reality and believing it. And it can be unhealthy and kind of destructive, especially when it's done unconsciously. So I'm suggesting that we do a form of this projective counter-identification consciously, strategically, temporarily. And it doesn't mean, so that means that we don't necessarily believe the truth or the reality of what they're saying or something like that, but that at least we're getting in the car with them to understand their perspective. So it's kind of a combination of empathy and perspective taking. If I can get in the car with them, and for that moment I can see, why would this person be seeing it this way? Why would they be feeling this way about it? If I can really get that and almost like adopt it for a moment, I can also see that. I can also feel that. If I were in this car, I would probably also be feeling that, and let them know, reflect that back to them, and even be there with them for a moment. I'm on your team, I'm here with you. Then I can start helping to reframe the conversation or the conflict. I can redirect, kind of like especially if you see someone who's in a really escalated state. It's like someone who's on the highway or on the street, and they're about to drive off the cliff or crash into a wall or something. And if I can get in their car with them, I can act like sort of like a driving instructor and just gently put my hand on the wheel and start to guide them back into their lane so they don't hit the wall, right? And the only way that I can do that is by being in the car with them. And so what that means is they have to know that I'm not a threat or an opponent. They have to know I'm on their team. So I'm perspective taking, I'm empathizing, I'm projecting myself into their reality knowingly, strategically, consciously, so that I don't just believe it, and I don't think it's necessarily real, but I get the sense of what it would be like. So that's what I mean when I say get in the car with someone. And I think it's really important, just for the moment. How would I be seeing this? How would I be feeling if I were in there? I'm going to get in there with them, and I'm going to make their concerns and feelings and goals as important to me in this moment as they are to them, right? So that's an important. I'm going to make their goals and concerns and feelings as important to me in this moment as it is to them. It doesn't mean they need to be as important 5 minutes from now, but I'm going to make them important right now. So that's what I mean by getting in the car. And if I can do that, if they can get a sense that, hey, my goals and feelings are just as important to this person as they are to me, it immediately puts us on the same team. And being on the same team, having a partner, having an ally, and resolving the conflict is super important in building peace. I got to get away from that. I got to get away from their perspective that I'm some sort of threat or an impediment or an enemy or an opponent of some sort. I got to be on their team. I got to create the reality that I'm on their team for this moment.